The ground shook again, close enough that the air itself seemed offended, and he muttered that whoever was in charge of orbital artillery should be gently introduced to a very small manual on aiming. She laughed at that, a quiet sound, breathy, as if laughter were something she rationed carefully. He told her not to do that because laughing while bleeding was terrible for morale, his specifically, and she replied that if she stopped laughing she might start screaming, and neither of them wanted to test which was louder. He adjusted the sealant on her side, hands steady by habit rather than confidence, and noticed how her long ears flicked once, then stilled, as if they were listening to something he couldn't hear. "You're doing that thing again," he said. "What thing?" "Listening to secrets the universe isn't telling me." She smiled, or at least her mouth did. "If the universe wanted you to know its secrets, human, it would have issued you better ears." "Rude," he said, and pressed the injector. She hissed, then waved it off. "Don't pretend that didn't hurt," he added. "I wasn't pretending," she said. "I was judging you silently." That earned another explosion in the distance, and a mutual pause while dust and static drifted through the air. His wrist unit chirped, annoyed about blood loss percentages and recommending retreat in a tone that implied it had been ignored too often. He muted it. She noticed, of course. She noticed everything. "You always silence machines that disagree with you?" she asked. "Only the ones that don't know what they're talking about." "That's most machines," she said, "and most people." He glanced at her wound, then at her face, then very deliberately not at the way her ears angled forward when she focused on him. "You're calmer than you should be," he said. "You're chattier than you should be," she replied. "Yet here we are." Another tremor rolled through the battlefield, distant but persistent, like a headache the planet couldn't shake. Overhead, something screamed through the sky at faster than legal velocities, and his suit's sensors briefly lost their sense of direction. He told her to stay awake. She told him she was awake, she just preferred to do it with her eyes closed sometimes. He said that wasn't how awake worked. She said humans had very rigid definitions for flexible concepts. He finished sealing the wound and started wrapping it, careful, methodical, letting the rhythm of the work slow his thoughts. "You never said what unit you're with," he said. "I did." "No, you avoided it with style, though. 10 out of 10. She considered this, ears tilting back slightly. "I travel between units," she said. "You could say I'm difficult to categorize." "Join the club," he said. "I was supposed to be a botanist." She laughed again, stronger this time, and for a moment the battlefield felt embarrassed for interrupting them. "A plant doctor," she said, "and instead you're here." "Plants complain less," he said. She opened her eyes then and looked directly at him. The humor didn't leave her face, but something else stepped forward, quiet and undeniable, like gravity remembering its job. "Human," she said softly now, "do you trust people you meet in craters?" "I trust people who don't let me die in them," he said. "Good," she replied, "because I don't enjoy lying and I dislike surprises even more." He waited, hands still, the distant war briefly holding its breath. She didn't explain. Not yet. Instead, she smiled again and added, "Also, your bandaging technique is acceptable. Don't let that go to your head." Time passed in the strange way it always did under fire, stretching and folding until minutes felt like arguments and seconds felt like promises. His wrist unit chirped again, this time sounding smug, as if it had waited patiently to be proven right. He told it to reroute power to the shield emitters or he'd replace it with a rock and see which one survived longer. The unit complied, sulking digitally. She heard the exchange and said, "I like your machines. They have personality." "They develop it after enough threats," he said. "Same as people." Something swept low overhead, close enough that the local gravity hiccuped. Her breathing stuttered for half a second, then steadied. His medical readout flashed symbols he didn't like, rearranging themselves as if arguing about physics. "Your biology is doing something clever," he said. "It does that," she replied. "Usually without asking me." "That foam should have stabilized you," he said. "It did. Then it realized who it was dealing with. He snorted despite himself and adjusted the settings, switching protocols meant for species that didn't officially exist in the database. Somewhere far away, a satellite screamed in encrypted bursts, and his comm lit up with interference that looked suspiciously like intent. He muted that too. "You silence a lot of things," she said. "Only when they interrupt," he said. "You were about to say something important." "I was deciding whether it was wise," she said. "Statistically." "No, politically." That earned her a look. "You're on a battlefield," he said. "Politics already lost." "Spoken like someone whose name isn't a negotiation tool," she said lightly. A pause settled between them, broken only by distant impacts and the soft whine of technology arguing with reality. He focused on keeping her stable. She focused on him, which was somehow more unsettling. "You humans are very earnest," she said. "It's endearing and alarming." "Pick one," he said. "I can't, that's the problem." His suit warned him about incoming scans. Her presence made the warning escalate from polite to frantic. "That's new," he muttered. "Yes," she said. "They're looking for me." He didn't ask who, he just said, "I can move you." She smiled at that, tired but sincere. "I know." "Next time," he said, "lead with the part where entire fleets care if you bleed." "I was waiting to see if you'd still help me after," she said. "After what?" She met his eyes again, and the humor softened but didn't vanish. "After you realized I'm inconvenient." He wrapped the last layer, sealing it with a practiced motion. "Everyone's inconvenient," he said. "Some of us just require fewer evacuation protocols." A burst of alien code flashed across his visor, unsolicited and arrogant. He frowned. "You hacked my suit." "I asked it nicely," she said. "It doesn't speak your language." "It speaks status," she replied, apologetic. He exhaled slowly. "You're not just passing through this war, are you?" "No," she said. "I'm the reason it's here." The battlefield shook again, closer now, impatient. He activated the beacon anyway. "Then let's get you out of it," he said, "before the universe decides to make introductions." The evacuation signal pulsed once, twice, then hesitated, as if even it were unsure whether this was a good idea. He told it to commit, because indecision got people killed, and the beacon finally flared bright enough to offend several satellites. She watched the light with mild interest and said, "Well, that's going to cause a meeting." "Meetings are better than funerals," he said. "Debatable," she replied. The scans intensified, sharp and invasive, brushing against his suit like curious fingers. His systems began translating incoming demands, requests layered over threats, threats wrapped in protocol. He ignored most of them. She didn't. Her ears shifted, subtle, precise, and the interference abruptly quieted, as if the universe had been told to lower its voice. "You did that," he said. "I cleared my throat," she said. "You cleared several fleets." She winced. "I was aiming for one." The ground shook again, but this time the rhythm was different, coordinated. He recognized the pattern and felt something unclench in his chest. Friendly ships. Or at least ships that hadn't decided to kill him yet. He helped her sit up, and she didn't protest, which he took as progress. "You should know," she said, "that once we leave this crater, things will become complicated." "They already are," he said. "I threatened my own equipment today." She laughed softly. "You'll do well then." A channel opened, wide and formal. Titles spilled out, ranks stacking on top of each other like unstable architecture. She waited until they finished, then spoke one sentence. The channel went silent, stunned into obedience. He stared at her. "That was it," he said. "I don't like speeches," she said. "They invite questions." They were lifted gently, gravity smoothing itself out as the transport field locked on. His stomach complained. Hers didn't. "Show off," he muttered. "I've had practice," she said. Inside the transport, the noise of battle faded into something distant and theoretical. Medics rushed forward, then stopped short when they recognized her. She raised a hand. They froze. "He stays," she said, nodding at him. "He's part of this." "Part of what?" he asked. She looked at him, really looked, and the humor returned, warm and familiar. "The aftermath," she said. Later, time behaving more politely now, she sat across from him, no longer bleeding, no longer pretending. He waited. "You saved me without asking who I was," she said. "That matters." "I ask questions," he said. "I just prioritize." She smiled. "Then here's an answer. I am the binding authority between three systems currently at war. My injury delayed negotiations. My death would have ended them. And my bandaging technique was acceptable," he said. "Heroic even," she said. He leaned back, absorbing it. "So what happens now?" "Now," she said, "I make peace very loudly." "And me?" She tilted her head, ears forward. "You go back to being whatever you choose. Botanist, medic, professional machine intimidator." He considered the quiet, the absence of explosions. "I think," he said slowly, "I've grown attached to inconvenient people." She laughed, bright and unrestrained. "That," she said, "is how it starts. When they